All right, says I'm live. Let's hope this doesn't fuck up again, because talked to myself for 15 fucking minutes. This shit wasn't going live. Uh, if you guys are seeing this, please let me know. This fucking balls. All right, now I'm just gonna go down the line and sorting through. All right, let's see if we get any viewers here. This chair is uncomfy as shit. All right, I think it's working. Definitely working. All right, I think it's working. All right, it's working. So, as I was saying in my live that wasn't live, draft rankings, draft grades, post draft team rankings, and little trade review. Go over the trades that have happened. Remember, draft grades, I do it based off of what you needed, kind of what you're coming to, big picture, not necessarily the best team coming out of it, but how you actually drafted, execute a draft plan. And then rankings are based off of points. I do what I do is I use Fantasy Football Pros rankings. I input our league settings into there. Tells me what the rankings are for players. The lower the score, the better. This is working before I keep going. Can you guys hear me? I feel like it's not working now. Although I clicked on it. Anyways, I'll just keep going until someone says something. If you're here, just put a comment in the chat. Let me know that you can see me. So any of the rankings, post-draft team rankings, if your quarterback is ranked number 1, you get 1 point. So you want to have the lowest amount of points. So I take that, sort all 16 teams by their scores, and then I look at the teams and kind of rearrange them a little bit based off of their scores, because there's some rearranging because some teams total score is a little skewed because like their defense or their kicker or something, or just one guy. So excuse me. Let's get into the ranking or the draft grades. I'm just gonna go down the list. The last one, I was 15 minutes deep. I was busting around looking for going in order of teams. So we'll start with my team. I gave myself an A because, of course, I did. Commissioner, I do what I want. No, I'm kidding. I did give myself an A. Reason being, it was no surprise to anybody that I wanted Bijan. That was my guy. My number was 99 on him. I got him. My needs going into the draft for running back, flex, and bench. I got Kyle Pitts. I am a believer in Kyle Pitts. The over-under on Michael Penix passing yards this year is 3,400. He's got to pass to someone other than Drake London. Mooney's been injured. Last year they had a very basic playbook. But somebody's got to pop another pass catcher in that offense. So if it's not him, then I could have something with Manon guy. You could say, well, JT messed up by not getting a flex. Part could be true, but the guy I wanted was like Buka or JCM. I thought I was going to be able to get JCM for about $10. That proved not to be true. But Egbuka went before him, so I saved my money. Now, I could have gotten Egbuka had I gone max bid 24, but then I would have no money for any bench. So, like guys like Luther Burden, Cam Ward, Kyle Monangai, Deontay Thornton, Tyler Algier, Patrick Bryant, I would not have been able to get any of those guys. I probably would have given myself a lower draft grade. So I give myself an A for that reason. Next up, we got Shane. Shane gets an A+. Shane had an excellent draft, came out with a lot of great players, great depth. Obviously, he's already making moves using that depth. His needs I had as a quarterback, a tight end, and then anything he wanted. I know some people were a little bit critical, saying, hey, what is Shane doing? Why did he get a running back? Blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, sure, but he stuck to his numbers. He has numbers on the running backs. He could have went after Amarion Hampton instead of like Tyreek Hill and Mark Andrews put together. And maybe a guy on his bench, but then his depth is not as good either. Obviously Tyreek Hill's got top 10 upside. So, he comes with Allen, Kittle, Tyreek. He's his 3 big buys. He's got Andrews, Stevenson on the bench, his depth, Ray Davis, Turkis Hunter. Again, disclaimer, all these rankings are solely based off of what you drafted, not where you're at with trades right now. So when I talk about your team, I still have those players that you drafted on your team if you've made trades. So Shane gets an A+. Next up, we got Logan. Loki. I had his needs as wide receiver, running back, and flex. By wide receiver, I'm meaning all of them. Running back 2 is what he needed. Because he had James Cook. I think you could, based off the season last year, say James Cook is our RB1. But he went and drafted CMC, Cooper Kupp, Michael Pittman, Nick Chubb. Like I said, 4 years ago, this team would have been incredible. Justin Herbert, he kept Justin Herbert for $9. That's not a great keep. He completely ignored wide receiver. Cooper Kupp, Michael Pittman. Can't remember the third off the top of my head, but they're all old. He kept an overpaid quarterback, like I said. CMC Cook is great, but they can only do so much. And if one of them gets injured, his season's over. He's going to end up having to trade one of those guys for 2 wide receivers, most likely, or a receiver in a way lesser running back. So Logan gets a C- because of that. Next up, we got Parker. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. When he watches it, I'm sorry. But you fucked up. You got some good value. Don't get me wrong. You did a great job getting value. Guys like Dak. I thought Tyler Warren was a good one. Some of those other guys you got on your bench, the rookies. But the problem is you went for value over need. So, you needed an RB1 and an RB2. And tight end, I put as your biggest 3 needs. But you spent, a bunch of money on Harvey and JCM and Judkins and Mixon. Tons of risk. And, Addison's already out. Rashee Rice, we knew Rashee Rice was going to get suspended. We didn't know how much or when. I did this morning when I was on my airplane, and I said, not sure how he will be filling the lineup by week 6. And again, the players that you got, most of them are rookies. They got hit. It's just, we all know the plan. He did this the year he took over Deontay's team. He's always looking for value to trade for to guys, but could be a bad season fast for him. So I give Parker a D. D. Then we got Corey. It's funny because my app also does draft analyzer and analyze people's their draft. So like my app gave me an A, gave Shane A plus, gave Parker a C. This next person gave a D, but I'm giving him an A minus. It's Corey. I had him down for RB1, RB2, and a tight end, but he proceeded to spend all of his money on like wide receivers. So he got Marvin Harrison Jr., Alvin Kamara, DJ Moore, Sampson, and Kelsey. So he overdrafted a wide receiver. He was keeping two of them. He only really needed one of those guys. It would have been nicer to see him just have DJ Moore and then because he was the cheaper one and go from there. If you use the money from Marvin Harrison Jr. and if you use the money from Marvin Harrison Jr. For RB2, and then Sampson, then flex, I think much better spot. We got Kelsey. His bench, he's got Demario Douglas, which I think could be good. We'll see. Jalen Royals, I like him, but other than that, the bench is trash. So Corey gets a C minus. Next, we got Tanner. Gave Tanner an A minus. Had his need as RB1, RB2 quarterback. He got Hampton, Pollard, and Baker Mayfield / CJ Stroud. I think that's excellent to get, especially given the work that he had to do. Remember, he's keeping only like 4 guys. Marion Hampton, I think he'll finish top 16. Pollard, especially with Spears out, has a great opportunity to be a really cheap RB2. And then at quarterback gets Baker Mayfield on a great deal. High-powered offense, great weapons. He got him on a good deal. So he got great value. Now, the one thing he didn't do was get wide receiver depth. I mean, and who knows? Maybe it does end up being fine. With A.O. Maynor, Trey Harris, Torrey Horton. But as of right now, it does not look like he has wide receiver depth, and there's a possibility Juwan Jennings gets put on IR. There's a possibility Jacoby Myers gets traded. Also, if he's butting heads with the front office, how much effort is he going to put in? It's last year of his deal. He wants to get paid more. If he's going to hit free agency, who knows? He might not try to play through some bumps and bruises that he normally would. But nonetheless, Tanner gets an A minus. Next up, we got Mike. I thought Mike had an excellent draft, got value all over the board. He had a ton of work to do. He was only keeping 3 players, Bo Nix, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Brenton Strange. So his needs were wide receiver 1, running back 2, wide receiver 2. He got all of it. He got Mike Evans. He got Caleb Johnson. He got Cortland Sutton. He got Jalen Waddle. I think he reached a little bit on the price for Jalen Waddle. But I thought he did an incredible job with value. Same thing with Caleb Johnson, given, Fantasy Football Pros has him at RB27. So we'll put him in that RB2 fold. His flex and bench are terrible, though. Like, terrible. I think it's safe to say none of those. The only guy in his bench that should probably be owned right now is Giddens, and Matt should be the one that owns him. So I gave him a B plus for that. But I thought he had this, in my opinion, I think it was the best draft Mike ever had in this league. Next up, we got Tom. Tom, thanks for traveling down from the city to partake in our draft. Hope we had a good time, man. For him, I was a little disappointed in his draft, to be honest. He still got a decent grade, but I thought so. His needs were running back 1, running back 2, and tight end. He ended up drafting Brandon Jacobs, Ted McMillan, those were his two main guys, and then he got some nice depth like Ollie Gordon, Jaden Blue, a couple of the guys that he got for his bench. The thing with he huge overpay for Jacobs. And the other problem was is he topped him and he was in on the bids. So I think he realized it stopped and then topped him. Putting Bigsby at RB2 is a huge risk because we do not know how that backfield is going to shake out. He didn't really need Ted. He doesn't really need him. I thought he if that was his plan, once he realized, I think you go more bold at quarterback. If the plan was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to get the top, like those top guys. He should have just made the decision to throw Mason at flex and go get one of those really good quarterbacks. Because if he didn't draft Ted McMillan, he would have been able to do that. But again, the other thing too is he waited too long to call out Jacobs. First call out was Shane, who called out JT. Then I called out Barkley. Parker called out Mixon, and then Tom threw out Bijan. I can't tell you when Jacobs went, maybe like the third time through. But at that point, he was the only running back left, and that really inflated him like no other. I think if Tom had called out Jacobs first, he probably lands him for about 64, 65. So Tom gets a B-. Greg, welcome back to the league. Was dealt a lot of mid. Tim left him with a lot of mid. But I thought Greg did a really good job. He's going to get a B for his draft grade. I had his need as RB1, wide receiver 1, and wide receiver 2. Comes away with Aaron Jones, A.J. Brown, Travis Hunter. He got what he needed, exactly what he needed. I don't love the number for Jones, especially because I don't view him as an RB1. But he's got good players on the bench. He's got hit a solid draft. Tajay Spears, Chris Godwin, Christian Kirk, Brian Robinson. So he's got solid guys. Yeah, so it like I said, it's solid. Wasn't bad, wasn't great. It was a solid. Gets the job done. B for Greg. Next up, we got Kevin. Kevin's not gonna like my draft grade for him. I had his needs as a running. He was keeping James Conner, Drake London, and like Houston's defense is all. So he had tons of work to do. He took a bit of a hybrid approach to what Mike did. But he spent on quarterback. So he gets Worthy, Diggs, Devontae Smith, and Lamar Jackson. He didn't address his running back need at all. Tuin and Marks are nice dart throws. I'll give them that. They both could eventually end up with a role in the offense this season. They also could not end up with a role in the offense this season. I don't think he should have spent the money on Lamar Jackson, given all of his needs. If he felt like super inclined to get a quarterback, he should have been in on Baker Mayfield at $10. Should have been in Patrick Mahomes. Should have been in on. Yes, he should have been in on those guys. Dak Prescott is going to throw for a lot of yards. So yeah, just not a great. I don't think it was a great draft plan. I don't think it was draft strategy, and I think it was just a poor draft. So Kevin gets a D+. Probably the first one, and the first anything he's ever gotten below an A. Dan, we got up next. That's something going to shock a lot of people. Dan knows it. I thought he had a great draft. I gave Dan an A for his draft grade. Had his needs as quarterback, wide receiver 1, and anything. He ends up coming away with CD Lamb, Hurts, Scatterbo, Javonte, Austin Eckler. He gets tremendous value on pretty much all those guys, especially Hurts. I mean, I think him at 17 might be the best pick of not the best pick, but the steal of the draft. He has great running back depth. Again, he's got Scatabo, Javonte on his bench. That's great. Like, wow. Obviously he ends up trading Javonte, but I think if anything, he could have combined the price of Javonte and Eckler because he was pissed for drafting Javonte. I think he could have, that's a combined $28, and maybe he gets someone else. Or maybe you throw Cam Scadabo's price in that, and then maybe he gets someone else in there. But again, it's hard to knock that much when, he completes his team the way he did. So I gave Dan an A. Next up, we got Joe/Griff. You can tell Joe was missing Griff on draft day this year. Definitely would have benefited him to have the brains behind the operation there. So I had their needs as running back 1, running back 2, QB. They draft Breece Hall, Henderson, and Egbuka. Love Egbuka. I talked about that not too long ago about how that's what I wanted. Could have got him. Should I got him? I don't know. I love the Egbuka pick and the price. But I don't. The thing with his team is I don't think Breece Hall or Henderson will be an RB1. And I also think he probably should have gotten a quarterback. Like Jordan Love is a 17th ranked quarterback right now. And that's just tough. His bench is not great. Beck they drafted him in the second round, but he's not turning heads at all. Kareem Hunt stinks. They just signed Clyde Edwards-Helaire back. Yeah, I think he needs a lot. So that's why I gave him a C+. I can't wait to go to bed. We got Mason. Mason, we'll see what he thinks about his draft grade. I gave him a B. I thought it was good, not great. Wasn't bad. Had his needs as running back 1, wide receiver 1. Coming into the draft, he had Jameson Williams and another guy slipped in my mind, but another one of those guys around Jameson Williams' rank. He got Burrow and Barkley. He just didn't need a quarterback. I think Goff at $4 in a 16-team league, you got to rock with that. Again, same thing I've said about others, but just go pay and get Mayfield for 10. Instead he gets Burrow for 25. And then Jalen Hurts was 17. I just think he could have gotten a good wide receiver for that price because after draft day, he was looking at his wide receiver 3 being Rashad Bateman or Kyle Williams, which is bad. So, again, Mason gets a B. And then we got Nick. Nick needed an RB1, RB2, and a wide receiver 1. He drafted Henry, Swift, and Rachaad White. He just didn't address his wide receiver. Like T. Higgins, I know, well, it's apparent that Nick is very high on T. Higgins, but T. Higgins is not a wide receiver 1. Never has been, never will be. He is a very good wide receiver 2. Only way he can vault up in that next level, in my opinion, is if Jamar Chase gets hurt. Bench wise, I like the Josh Palmer pick. Nothing else too special. He didn't really have any money left for anything after Henry. He had already kind of made that decision very early in the offseason. But I do like the value of Swift. So I gave Nick, now I think about it, go down a little bit. C- for Nick. It's not as good, but it's not a C. Last two here, we got Matt and Pizzo. So we got Matt, had his needs as a quarterback, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 3. He ends up drafting Jonathan Taylor. Did not have running back on for him at all. Mahomes and Matthew Golden. So he didn't need a running back one. He's got Kenny Walker, but he got Jonathan Taylor. Wide receiver could really be the downfall of his team. Rome Odunze, popular name this offseason, but still a lot to prove. They end up drafting a receiver as well. Who else does he have a receiver? As far as rankings go, none of his receivers are ranked inside the top 30. He's likely going to need to trade one of his running backs for a receiver, and his bench is ass. Mims just blew up his groin today. Yoshivas, Sean Tucker, Gino, Blake Corum, it's not great. And then he didn't draft DJ Giddens. You pay that money for Jonathan Taylor, and then Jonathan Taylor, especially every single year, misses 3 games with an ankle sprain. You got to secure the handcuff there. So Matt gets a B-. And last but not least, we got Pizzo. Had his needs as an RB2 and a wide receiver 1. He drafted Ashton Jeanty, Jetta, and Debo. I mean, gosh. Jeanty and Jetta is a great haul. Right now the problem for him is he has no flex, but he's got everything else covered pretty good. And now with the news of Thielen going back to the Vikings and with Addison out, all of a sudden Pizzo's got a pretty good guy in the flex spot because he's got Hollywood, and then Hollywood Brown, the Rashee Rice news. Hollywood Brown all of a sudden is a really good wide receiver 3. Granted, all that's happened since the draft, so I got to go based off of where we were at on draft day. I gave Pizzo a B+, very solid for him. So yeah, those are the draft grades. I'll kind of just say them out loud one more time. So I gave myself an A, Shane A+, Corey C-, Logan C-, Parker D, Tom B-, Tanner A-, Dan A, Greg B, Mason B, Nick C-, Pizzo B+, Matt B-, Mike B+, Joe C+, Kevin D+. And then not last, but let's go over some of my ranks of the teams. We'll go from bottom to the top. I think right now, post-draft, remember, this is assuming no trades have been made yet. I think Parker's got the worst team. Rashee Rice news hasn't been announced, but we are expecting some type of news. There's just too much risk in this team. There's no wiggle room whatsoever. And the other thing is if guys get suspended, he was looking at this before his trade today, is you got 4 guys on your bench getting 0-5 if you include Mixon. So, I just think coming out the draft, not a formidable opponent right now. Then I got Kevin up next at 15th. I just don't think Kevin seems that good. Pacheco, I know he got Pacheco and Warren. They're whatever. His wide receivers aren't great. He's got Lamar Jackson, but then I got Nick. Nick's probably digging himself farther down now with his trade. Then I got Corey. Then I got Logan. Then I got Joe. Then I got Greg. Then Matt, Mason, Pizzo, Tanner, Tom, Mike, Dan, JT, and myself. So the top 3 teams I got is Shane number 1, me number 2, Dan number 3, Mike number 4, Tom number 5. So yeah, that's where I got it. Our team ranks. Remember, I do them based off of points, and I sort them a little bit with close calls. And then lastly, we can go over some trades here. Recent activity. Transactions. All right, so let's go back. To post draft. So first trade that happens is Corey trades Keon Coleman, DJ Moore, Travis Kelce for Javonte Williams, Chris Olave, and Dallas Goedert from Dan. I think that was a good trade. I think it's a trade Corey had to make, given his situation with his running backs. So he swaps out, Chris Olave for DJ Moore. I'm so tired I can't even think straight. Then Travis Kelce for Goddard. So I think it's a fair trade. And then we got this one with Kevin and Joey, or Kevin and Mason. I thought this was a very stupid trade. I get why Kevin did it, but I think it's a stupid trade. Jalen Warren is Jalen Warren. Isaiah Pacheco is Isaiah Pacheco. And Kevin traded the best player in the deal in James Conner. And then I know he believes in Xavier Worthy. I don't, but I just don't love that trade for Kevin. Then we got Dan and Joe. Joe ends up getting Cam Scatterbo, Travis Kelce, DJ Moore for Kareem Hunt, Xavier Legette, Brock Bowers. So Dan gives up Bowers, but he gets back. Dan gives up Scatterbo, DJ Moore, Kelce gets back Brock Bowers. So great haul by Dan to get Brock Bowers. He had the depth to make that move happen. So I think that was a good trade. Greg traded J.K. Dobbins and A.J. Brown for Ramondre Stevenson and Terry McLaurin. I think J.K. Dobbins and Ramondre are the Spider-Man meme pointing. They're the same guy, same kind of situation. So whatever. And then you got Terry and A.J. Brown. If I'm Greg, I'd probably do that trade because I have Jaden Daniels. Now, if I didn't have Jaden Daniels, I probably wouldn't do that trade. But A.J. Brown's a good wide receiver. He's tough, plays through a lot. Then we got Derrick Henry, Darnell Mooney, Justice Hill from Nick to Shane in exchange for Ray Davis, Lad McConkey, J.K. Dobbins. Don't know what Shane is doing here. Don't know what Mason or Nick is doing here. But whatever. And then we just got a trade here from Dan to Parker. Helps Parker field a team for week 1. Parker gets Romeo Doubs, Bryce Young, Xavier Legette for Isaiah Bond, J.J. McCarthy, Jordan Addison. So Dan capitalizing on his depth again. He'll have even more depth once Addison comes back. I think that was a great move. Great move for Dan, and a move that Parker probably didn't want to make, but had to make in order to field a full lineup. That's it right now. I'm tired of shit. So keep up the great work. Let's keep getting some trades done. Keep the chirping going in the chat. And let's try not, I'm not going to suggest that, but I don't want to find out how good Shane's team can be, if you know what I mean. So, think about that. Great work, everyone, with your trades, improving your teams. We'll do this again soon. Have a good night.